Ready, set, go. Be inspiring. Go. Ready, go.
Waiting on the leader to inspire us first.
Who do we need? The leader.
You.
Oh,
You.
me. Oh, you want me to be inspiring? I'm not sure if I know how to do that. Other than to say it is wonderful to be here for September. Spring in Australia, winter, autumn in Europe, and spring in South Africa, isn't it? You're all the same seasons as us, which is good. So I love this time of the year. It's a bit, the weather's a bit crazy, but I don't know. It's just I like this transition time. It's nice, isn't it? When you get a nice day in spring, it's just awesome, and even the same in autumn too, isn't it? Anyway, let's not talk about the weather. Let's talk about you, wonderful people. Good to be here. Good to hang out with you guys. I know we're going to have some cool stuff to talk about. I know Justine's got a book launch happening this weekend. It's got 1,000 million people attending a book launch, and which is awesome. I maybe exaggerated just a little bit then, but so I want to hear about Sue and what's happening with your stuff and everyone. John, we haven't seen you for a while, so
No.
I don't know. Kat's got some movement at the station, which we want to hear about, and yeah, so there's lots to chat. So who wants to start?
I'll start.
Oh, good on you, Sue.
I'm always the one to cave in first, aren't I?
It's not caving. That's courage. Be the first one.
Thank you.
Early adopter, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that one. Thank you. Last meeting I was talking about, some exciting uptake from publishers. We had a couple of expression of interest, and I'm really happy as to say, as of today, I have a Zoom meeting on Thursday, Justin and I, with a Melbourne publisher to talk further about what they might be able to do for us.
Awesome.
So that's only to Andrew. We'll get on to you. I don't know any detail much yet, but when we talked to you last time, Justin and I, you thought it sounded like a full publication deal, which is what we're hoping for. We had one co-publishing opportunity, and we thought we'd, if you recall, we put out 10 submissions 6 weeks ago now, and so that one co-publishing came up, and we're very new to this. Forgive me, anyone else who's been through all this and knows how it all works, but we thought we'd hold on and wait to see. And Andrew, thank you for your input. We thought if we got a full publication, the interest and the onus might be with the publisher as well, to ensure that we got our stuff out there, because they would be investing their money in what we're doing.
Correct.
Thank you. So the co-publication one, the way that works is you put up a certain amount up front, and you assist them offset the costs of producing your book. They do leave, the co-publishing one, they do leave the rights to the book with you. They do distribute it worldwide. Promotion is pretty much up to you. And Andrew, again, thank you. You said you pretty much do a lot of the heavy lifting if it's a co-publishing deal, because in a way they don't have to do as much of that if they've already taken the risk. They put your book together. So that's why we put it aside and thought, well, we wonder if one of the others might come up with something more. Well, this is what I want to say to the group. Again, forgive me if you already know all this stuff, but the waiting game, 6 weeks in, we had those nibbles, and then it was we're considering, and we got that. We're considering, we're in whoopie-doo, and I was wrapped for a few days, and then the considering went on for a week or so. So I went, oh, I wonder if it's okay to say, are you still considering? So I did. About a week ago, I said, are you still considering? And they went, what was really nice, everybody, was they said, oh, thank you for bringing it to our notice. We've got a heap of people's manuscripts in front of us at the moment, and thank you for drawing yourself to our notice, which was like, well, great. And we are still considering, and they asked a few questions, which was nice. Again, it sounded like they wanted to know, are you prepared to do book talks? Are you prepared to buy some of your books up front on wholesale price? Are you prepared to do that sort of thing? And we answered those questions. And I must say again, it was most of that information was in the proposal and the submission. But I have to say, okay, if you've got heaps of proposals and submissions in front of you, let's not be precious here, Sue, and expect that they're going to remember the details of yours. So I just went, oh, thank you for the question. And I copied the little bit out of the proposal or the submission that I'd sent in and said, I'll just draw your attention to this part where we have answered that question. And it came, which is my polite way of saying, you know, there it is all there, guys. And then they got back and said, well, thank you so much for that. I've now passed it on. This is like assistant publisher. I've now passed it on to the publisher, and he will have a look, and we'll get together and we'll see if we can reach consensus. Another 2 weeks goes past, and I'm sitting here going, oh my goodness, what's going on now? So today, because of us tonight, I thought I want to be able to say something if I can.
So did you send another email to them?
I did. Foolish?
I love it.
Foolish or what?
No,
I just
not
thought,
foolish at all.
with the greatest respect, my tone was respectful. I just said, I know it was naughty a bit, I guess. There was some truth in it, but I said, I'm looking at my diary now, and I made fun of myself. I said, yes, it's the A4 paper version of the diary that I still deal with. And I'm flipping through the pages. And this week, which you said you would get back to us perhaps this week, is filling fast. I really don't want to miss an opportunity of talking with you. Could I pencil something in? That's how I did it. And I got 2 hours later, I got a reply that I sent that to the publisher's assistant. I got a reply from the publisher. He said the publisher's assistant, that person, is out of the office at the moment. So I'll just jump straight in myself. How about 2 o'clock Thursday? We'll have a Zoom.
That's awesome.
And I just went, freako, goodness me.
There you
that
go.
was the reward. So I guess I'm saying to everybody, you can be ever so humble, but sometimes perhaps you have to go, hey, I'm still out here. And it's a little bit like squeaky hinge, perhaps. If you do that with good manners, maybe you'll get a response. Now, of course, nothing is promised here, except we have had the little statement, if we should take you on statement, which is me going, oh, if we should take you on. And the bit of the timeline, it won't be for this Christmas, which we'd previously hoped. We're looking at April, May.
Yeah.
That's again giving people an idea of what's ahead. Publishers, they're really are saying we're full now for anything that we can do before Christmas.
Yeah, there's no way they do it.
There's no way.
In September. No.
And then they said, is that okay with you? And I said, yep, obviously, let's talk about that. But yes, on the surface of it, we've probably been unrealistic, I said. Again, I'll take it on board that's us pushing the pace that's not realistic. So I hope after Thursday, Andrew, we'll be coming back to you and go, mate, have a look at this with us and see if any of this is a good idea.
That's awesome. There's well done, Sue. There's so much wrapped up in what you've just said there. I think there is that perception that you send it to a publisher and you don't contact them ever again. And I think what you've just shown us is that that's not necessarily the case. Publishers want to publish good books, and they do get smacked with submissions, and it's very easy for them to lose sight of yours. So I think the way you've handled it, Sue, is perfect. And otherwise you'd be sitting here saying, well, I haven't heard back from them. And you've just pushed that a little bit, and I think that's the way you go. And you did it respectfully, and you did it beautifully. So, but you also did it intentionally, and I think that's there's a lot to learn from what you've just said. Then, so well done.
Thank you.
We've all learned from that. Because I think I wonder how many authors miss a publishing deal because they don't send a little follow-up email. Hey, just checking in. I know you've got a lot happening, but just want to see whether my manuscript is still under your consideration. Yep. I mean, what's the worst case?
That's what I thought.
They're going to go,
what's the worst case?
No, not interested. But if you don't never hear from them again, that's the answer anyway.
Yeah, and I thought just snip it in the bud, cut the pain today. If you're not interested, I'm going to go, I'm a big girl here. I can go, okay. And I won't personalize that. I'll go, you've got a pile ahead of you. This one's not for you. Let's move on and spend our energy on someone else who might be interested.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
you said to us, Andrew, don't lose the belief. And Justine, you've said that to me too. Don't lose the belief in what you're doing. It's not about Sue and Justin. It's about what are you trying to write about here, and what are you offering? And is this publisher at this point of time going to take that up? Is it in their interest? Clearly, they've got to be in their interest. If so, let us know after due consideration. If not, we'll move on.
Yep, good. Great. Well done. So
Well, can I go next, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Yeah, I'd love to go next because I do have to go to another podcast.
Yes, please, John. Well done, Sue, though. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yes, well done. That's fantastic.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Well, I was intrigued by all of that because I self-published. So, and I know Andrew gets his books published, which is fantastic. But I was in a place where I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea whether I was good enough or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I decided to self-publish. So I actually funded all of mine, which was, the way that I went about it. And it's been a long, hard road.
Yep.
However, I'm a person who has always been in management and always sort of run my own businesses. So I just took it upon myself. I'm not such an advertiser on Facebook or anything like that. What I do is I approach people, and that's how I sell my book. And I speak at schools on road safety. So I sell books there. I speak at Rotary clubs and people like that. But as the last time I spoke to you, I had a meeting in Canberra with the Department of Infrastructure, Transport and Road Safety. And then I ended up having 3 or 4 meetings with them over Zoom or in their offices. And they encouraged me to apply for a grant. So I have just applied for a grant. And the grant is the National Road Safety Action Grants Program.
Yep.
And being the idiot that I am, I thought, and I did, do the grant myself. I can do this. Of course I can. Can I tell everybody, doing a grant is unbelievably difficult. But anyway, I got it done.
So therefore, John, you're not
Yes.
an idiot at all.
I'm not an idiot, I suppose.
No, you're not.
But I lost a lot of sleep.
So we'll change the labelling, shall we? You
Yes.
are courageous. You're persistent. You're independent.
Yes. And I lost a lot of sleep, but that's okay.
And you're now a little bit fatigued, but you're not in.
Yes,
okay?
That's right, exactly. But there are people out there who I have the utmost regard for, those who write the grants and get grants for schools, for football clubs, for whatever it might be. Those people, that's their business, I guess. So that's what they're good at doing. Now, the grant has been submitted. I'm just waiting. And what I have asked for, I initially asked for the grant for my book to be supplied into schools, and I'm just looking at Victoria, because Victoria's road safety is just, what's happening on our roads is just unbelievably bad. And last year we had 249 people killed on our roads in Victoria, and this year we're on target for 310. So really? We're 60 more deaths there'll be this year in Victoria. So that's what I've aimed at as the schools in Victoria. In my grant application, I said that I would like to get my books into the hands of 30,000 students. And there's also an audio book, so that would go to each teacher. And each student would learn the book as a subject. They read the book like they do currently with other books, with Shakespeare or whatever it might be. And at the same time, the audio book is being played. Now, to my way of thinking, students learn in different ways. And I was a student who couldn't learn from a book, but I could learn from something that I heard. I would never forget that. But so now this will hopefully cover the students who learn from different mediums. The grants people have got back to me and they said, we would like to reduce it to 20,000 books or to 20,000 students, which includes the teachers as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So it looks like there's a really good chance that this will go ahead. And the Department of Infrastructure, Transport and Road Safety, when I met with them, honestly, they don't know what's going on. They have no idea how to stop the deaths and injuries on our roads. They are at an impasse. They're advertising, and I don't know when any of you last heard a road safety ad on TV. We don't take any notice of them. I'm telling you, kids certainly don't take any notice of them. So something different has to be done. And education, I received a letter from the Education Department in Victoria telling me that I would be pleased to note that road safety is taught in schools. So being a person who questions the odd things, I thought to myself, well, why in that case am I being asked by schools to come and give road safety presentations if they're already learning it? So I have 50 schools or more that I speak at. I rang 15. Each one of them said, what a load of rubbish. It is an elective. So the schools elect not to teach road safety as a subject. They elect to get John Maher in to give a talk, or they elect to get the police in, or an ambulance officer in, or the TAC, or whoever it might be. And they give the talks at the schools. Right. So now what's going to happen for 20,000 very fortunate, I believe, year 10 and year 11 students, and some schools want to do year 11, some want to do year 12, which is going to give us a great overview of where we should be targeting. And they will all learn from Carmen's road safety pilot program in term 2 in 2024, 20,000 of them. Now that will be absolutely unbelievable, because I've got templates where I will be, I'm providing the questions for the teachers. I'm providing a template where the teachers give me feedback all the time, talk about how it has impacted certain students, because there's all different types of students in there. There's some that are really willing to take on the learning and are all for it. There's others that will be rejecting it, and hopefully we can change their minds on how they treat the roads and treat themselves and their families. So I'm on the precipice, I guess, of, it's like as if I've climbed a mountain by writing my book, and now I have my book, and if I can get this into the education system Australia-wide, Carmen will have done an amazing job, and her job will have made an enormous difference to the safety of future generations in Australia. And this is the only way that I can see that we can get to the what used to be an ad, which was towards zero 2050. Now we don't hear that ad anymore, because for anything to be achievable, it must be believable. And no one believes we will get zero deaths on our roads in 2050. But if we educate these kids, they will take us there. We have to put our hope and our trust in all of the young people coming through. And they will take the roads, make the roads safer. Currently, they're stealing cars. They're walking around Melbourne with machetes. They're doing things that are absolutely obnoxious, unbelievably out there, which I can't believe, because that's not what I grew up with. And now, somehow, somewhere, and the only place it can be done is in the schools, the entire perspective of who they are and what they think of themselves and the self-value they put on themselves and of every other human being has to be changed. And I think by education is the only way to do it. And through the road safety, from Carmen's book, which Andrew, you've read, through Carmen's book, it won't be just road safety. It will be self-value. It'll be the value of your family and how you are valued by your family. It will also be mental health, because our eldest daughter, Michelle, was on the edge of committing suicide, as Andrew knows in the book. And she drove out to a place where she was going to commit suicide because she blamed herself for Carmen's death in the car crash. And she sat there in the car, and she's written a chapter in the book, and she said, the reason I didn't do it was because I couldn't do that to mum and dad after they just lost Carmen. Now, to me, in my template that I put to the teachers, they read the book for 3/4 of an hour, then it opens up for class discussion for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever length of time a class goes for. Now, I believe in that discussion within that unit, within that school classroom, an enormous amount of value and learning is going to be done, because students are going to interact with each other. and they're going to ask, the teacher will ask a question, who's ever been in a car where you felt really unsafe? And the kids will put their hands up, and he'll then pick someone out and say, are you prepared to tell us about the situation? What did you do? What would you do differently now that you've listened to this part of Carmen's road safety message? So, yes, I've written a book, which I am really proud of, but I am hoping that this book is going to do so much more than just be a good read. I'm hoping that it's going to change road safety in Australia, at least be the stepping stone. And the interesting part is that by the year 2050, which is when we're supposed to get year 0, the year 10s next year will be 42 years old. And one of the ministers asked me, but yes, this is fine about the kids that are at school, but what about the 30, 40 and 50-year-olds that are dying on our roads? And my answer to her was, that was your predecessor's job. And they didn't do it. And now, this is now your job, because I've offered you the opportunity to make a difference. And now the question is, what are you going to do about it? Mm. And we've at least got a chance to run the Action Grants program. A university, I'm having to contact a university because studies have to be done on this. And I don't know how these things are done. This has to be proven.
Yep.
So that's
awesome.
where I am.
That's amazing, mate. Thank you for sharing that. It's not about the book, is it? It's about, and you have heard me say it a million times, it's about that impact, that ripple effect.
Yep.
And John, you are having an incredible ripple effect. So good on you. And it's just, I love the contrast between what Sue just talked about with the going down traditional publishing path. Yeah. John's been a self-published author, which just shows you can be successful either way. Depends on what you're willing to put into it. But John, you've obviously, you've put your heart and soul into this for decades. So this is not a job for you. This is a mission. This is a meaning for your life. So, and I think the key is with whatever you're doing, make it when it becomes your mission.
Yeah. And
no stone or no obstacle is too great. And John's overcome many of them to get where he is today. But
and I've had people who've helped me on the way, such as yourself, Andrew. You have picked me up at times when I've been at the stage. Look, I've never reached rock bottom. What I've done is lost the passion. I've found it too hard, as you've known. Putting the words of how we lost Carmen onto paper or onto the computer, it just became too hard. And I would turn my back on it, and I wasn't brave enough at times. And then I'd get me bravery back, and often I'd get that gentle shove from Andrew that would say, look, you can do this, mate. Just do it for half an hour. You don't have to do it for 2 hours. Do it for half an hour and then look at it again in 2 days' time. Just gave you the little pushes that helped me to get past the really tough bits. And then it became something else. It became something that flowed on really well. And I have a vision as well. And I'm saying, let's say that this does now go into schools. Guess what's going to happen to my book? There's going to be more pages added to the end of it, because I'm going to tell this story of what Carmen has done, how she's taken herself into the classroom and how she's impacted students and empowered them. And, life goes on and life grows and life can be better.
Good on you, John. That's awesome, mate.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll let you guys go. I've got people turning up just about right now. So
all right, mate. Well, thanks for sharing and all the best with it.
And I'll be back more often in future.
Awesome. Good to hear it.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Okay. Wow. There you go. I think John's a great example of what's possible with a book. 20,000 students, do the maths on that. And I don't know what, I'm sure the grant is for the retail value of those books. That's $500,000. So that's not bad. Not bad. Chris, good to see you, mate.
It's good to see you. I'm sorry I was late this morning. I had a client that ran over.
That's all right, mate.
I feel so privileged to hear the end of John's talk there. Wow, it's really absolutely touched me. beyond belief. It really has, what he's achieved.
Yeah.
Wow. And I've got a little announcement as well.
Good. We like announcements. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I was invited to write a chapter in a book called Rattled Awake, which I did over a weekend. It got accepted and it got published, and it's self-publishing. I don't understand all of this.
So you wrote it on the weekend?
I wrote it over a weekend. The chapter.
Over a weekend. I thought you meant you wrote over the last weekend. It's been accepted and published in 2 days.
No. Oh. I wrote it over a weekend. It was like a weekend of writing and coaching sort of thing.
Yeah.
It got edited. I learned a lot. It got published, and the book has gone to international bestseller.
Awesome. What's a book called?
It's called Rattled Awake.
Rattled Awake.
Yeah, and it's self-published. I don't understand all of that. That's nothing for me. But it's on Amazon. Yeah.
That's great, mate. Well done.
Yeah, but it spurred me on to do my book, mate. You know, and I've got to be honest with you, and I'm doing it. I'm getting on with it, and I'm writing, and I'm loving it. And I had a tear because, honestly, and I will say this, and I'm going to say this to the whole group, really, get it right out there. I just did not believe in myself. I just, don't matter what anyone says, I just didn't believe in myself. And even when I wrote the chapter, I didn't run it past my wife, and I didn't run it past her because I actually wanted the editors to throw it out because it was crap, because that's what I've always been told, And we all edited and read everyone else's book, and someone made a load of comments on my one and suggested this change and that change, and I didn't know how to do it. And I wrote back to the editors, look, this is it. This is the best I can get it. But someone said this and that, and I think, of course, that's better and all that. And they came back and we went, no, your authentic voice is what we want to hear, and your chapter is good enough as it is to go in the book. And I cried because no one in my life has ever said to me that what I've written is good. And I still feel emotional about it. It just shows to me how those traumas control our lives, guys. It really does. And it if you don't deal with them, they just hold you back, for God's sake,
Yeah.
So that's me bit. All emotion and all that. I'm going to shut up now, guys.
I want to give you a hug.
Well, there you go. There's a virtual one.
I want to fly over to the UK and hug you, mate. You beautiful man, you. Mate, oh wow, how powerful! Just that little thing called belief. That little thing called belief makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it? And a word, and it shows the power of a word of encouragement. Just that word from someone that said, you know what, this is good enough. And look at the effect it's had on Chris. And I just want us to know that our words, our written words, our spoken words, our non-verbal words, having an impact on people's lives, good or bad. So just have a look at Chris now, and just know that's the impact your writing and your books and your life is having on people. Because that's awesome, mate.
That trauma's still there, but it's a little bit weaker now. Yeah.
Well, you'll chip away at that, mate, and you're unstoppable anyway, but you'll actually believe you're unstoppable. Good on you, mate. You're a great man and you're doing great stuff, and we look forward to reading your chapter, and look forward to seeing your book with you, just you on the front of it, and finished and changing lives all around the world. So good on you, mate. That's amazing. Wow, it's been powerful. Gee whiz, we've got some heavy hitters. I mean, who's courageous enough to go next? My gosh. Oh, Justine, of course she is.
So I've got a book launch on Thursday night. I came up with the concept of this, I think, late January, early February, in compiling an anthology of people with MS around Australia, and then put out a call out for them, took them through 6 weeks worth of intense writing classes, and it's published. I didn't go through a publisher. I didn't go through self-publishing, because those that know, I started my own publishing house last year. And so
No,
it's
you did go through a publishing company.
yes, mine.
Now, have you got the book there, Justine? 'Cause
I
don't
do
know if
have
you guys
the
have
book.
seen it.
So we thought if we could get between 12 to 20 authors, we'd be going well. We ended up with 26. We thought if we could get to 200, 250 pages in the book was our, that was our target. It ended up at 348. So this is it here.
Whispers of Resilience.
Yeah.
Love it.
So this will not be the working cover in the first edition, yes, but we've gone and changed it because we had our MS stories. That's not really good on Amazon. So you've got to think of your titles for your books on what's the best SEO for them, SEO for them, SEO. And so it's now called Whispers of Resilience, Our Stories of Multiple Sclerosis, then in brackets, MS. So then we've got resilience and multiple sclerosis and MS all on the title, and that will come up better in the search engines from it.
And how many people have you got booked for your launch, Justine?
126. So if you are in the area of Geelong,
Well, I think this is a large percentage of the people on this call are in Geelong. Well, a quarter of you guys are. You.
Who else is in?
Sue, Terry, Justin, and Justin's not here, but he's in Geelong.
Yep.
Yep.
No, he's in the UK at the moment. Beg your pardon. And Justine, I have put an apology. I have. You might have remembered I joined Toastmasters because.
Right.
And I'm in a contest on that night.
Oh, good.
So I beg your pardon. Yeah, I'm throwing myself in to keep out there in the public arena and keep the connection. Now I'm retired from the classroom. And so I did write in and I have pre-ordered your book because, of course, I want to support you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, so we've got, I think there's 126 registered to come on Thursday night. We've got the media coming to it. We've done a big outreach to the media on there. There's a magazine that looks like they're going to come and do an article on us as well. And we've got more book launches up the east coast of Australia. So we've got another one on the 5th of October because this has got people from all around the country where there's groups of them up the east coast of Australia in particular. We're doing other launches, so extra launches for those people as well, so they can invite all their family and friends and media to it. So there's one on the 5th of October and another one on the 18th of November. It just I'm off to Ireland for a writing retreat that I'm celebrating at the beginning of November, and the guest of honor that we're having dinner with is Fergie, so I can't miss that one to go and do that. I'll be taking notes, don't worry for everyone, I'll be taking notes on that one. So I get to talk over in Ireland about this book, so in front of an international audience. We had to pick a book that we've written, and that is happening. And I'm also celebrating that I've co-authored another anthology. Never came enough to say this in front of Andrew. Co-authored another anthology, which is number 6, in just over 18 months, and it's being launched in Ireland as well. And there's 30 of us in that book. And that's a Karen McDermott book there as well. So this book will change so many lives of people that have MS. We've already got a wait list for the next volume that'll come out. And Chris, we're doing an international one as well next year. So you are top on my list.
Chapter 1.
A chapter.
Awesome.
For
Good on
that.
you.
So if you know someone that has MS, or someone who's a carer of someone with MS, or you just want to know exactly what MS does in someone's life, because most people know of MS because the MS Readathon did such a big campaign in Australia when we were all children going through, but not many people actually.
Do they do that? They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they do, but not to the extent they did when we were all going through school. And that's, someone asked me the other day, actually it was MS Australia because I did a podcast on it, asked me what the key theme through the book was besides everyone having MS. And it was that so many of us did the MS Readathon as kids. So a good way to publicize your books as well is to get onto podcasts, so other people's podcasts, because they're free. To do that. Never pay to go on a podcast. There's plenty of free ones out there to do, and you can talk to your heart's content about your books and get it out to a wider audience. Just put the time in to do it. So that's what I'm celebrating at the moment. So we'll have an author panel up, and we're going to do an online launch as well. So I'll let you know when that's all up and running. And it's available as of next week on Amazon.
Awesome. Awesome. Congrats. That's great news.
Congrats, Justine. Can I also, I don't know if when you mentioned international, I've got family in Canada. So she's actually got MS, and her brother and her father are in the medical field over there, and they organize a lot of the MS events and rides and all of that through Canada. So if you want any contacts or whatever in Canada, let me know.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I'll pop my email address in the chat box for you, Glenda. That would be
okay.
And if anyone else knows someone, we want to make this book a history book. And when I was writing this and when I was describing it to the authors, it's like, let's make this a history book, because 25% of the profits of this book are going back straight to MS research. And then the remaining profit is going to Profit with Purpose. So I'm offering scholarships for anyone that comes through Morpheus Writing School who has a disability to publish their books for them by the sale of this book. And so wouldn't it be nice, if someone picked this up 5, 10, 20 years time and there was no MS anymore, and in order for them to learn about what MS was and how it affected daily lives, that they pick up this book and they read it. So that's the long-term goal for this book, is for it to be a history book. But at the moment, for it to educate people on what it's like to live day to day with an incurable disease, when it affects every single person differently. So what that person can do, this person will do differently. And that was the meaning behind. So I had a clear, concise plan for the book before I started it, on who my avatar was going to be for it, and who would be reading it, not only now, but in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the track, 50 years down the track.
100, 200.
Well, that's right, because every book that you produce, or especially in Australia, you have to send it to the National Library and the State Library. And then it goes on file there into the national records. And do you guys also know about the library program? Andrew, you know about that, don't you? Yes, we spoke about it in Bali. What's it called?
Public lending rights.
Yeah, public lending rights. So every time your book is borrowed out of a public library, you get
a royalty.
You get a royalty on it. So
awesome. Yeah, it's just one of those very cool benefits to get it.
And when your book is read on through KDP Publishing, KDP, Amazon, Kindle, all of that, for how you also get a royalty on how many pages they've read.
There you go. That's cool. Good. All right. Well, just thanks, Justine, and well done.
No worries.
Amazing
Thank
as
you.
always. Just conscious of time here. Anyone else want to share some where they're at, or thoughts, questions, ideas?
I'm not sure if it's relevant anymore because it was kind of a response to what Sue said, but maybe it will help some people as well. Just your prompting, Sue, where you're chasing up with the publishers, I kind of have equated it a bit to when you're applying for a job. I had as a sideline, I worked as a recruiter years ago. And one of the things that I realized is I'd always been scared when I'd send my resume to a recruiter that I mustn't chase up because I might look desperate. And when I was on the other side of the fence, I realized that when I had this pile of resumes, whether somebody was good or not, I only knew them from that one interaction. So the more people contacted me, the more they kept going to the top of the pile. And it was just a reality. So I think we forget that, when we're applying, it's us, and and we're the only ones, and it's easy to forget that there's just a myriad of other people out there. So I really encourage people just to keep prompting, because I think you go to the bottom of the pile, not because you're bad, but just because there's others, and we're human beings, and the publishers are human beings. And they forget what's not top of mind. So I think that was from my experience on job applications, and I think it's a similar thing. The other comment that I had was your release. I'm actually working towards a February launch date for my book. One of the reasons being because I'm going to be in Australia and I want to do some launches there. But one of the conversations with the publisher, and we came to an agreement, was the disadvantage, much as December's great because people can buy Christmas presents and all of that stuff, is what they have found is that then it's last year's book. So, I mean, Justine and Andrew and whatever may have different views on this, but one of the things that we thought, well, the good thing about doing it early in the year for book awards and all of that is it's that year's book. So there is some advantage in doing it earlier the following year rather than the end of the first year. That was kind of some of the conversation. So be encouraged. If you felt like it was a delay, there could be some advantage in that delay.
Yeah, that's great, Glenda. Thank you for both of those insights. That's awesome.
Thank you from me too.
The other thing to think about when you're maybe negotiating, excuse me, or trying to organise a launch date is, depending on your book, what are some awareness weeks that are happening during the year? Because if you can release your book close to some kind of awareness week, I know that this is funny. Just how coincidental this is. As a lot of you know, I'm running. Adam Wallace and I are doing an event in Melbourne on the 21st of October, and one of the ladies that some of you know that was in Bali is writing a book, who's had a gambling addiction and devastated her life now, is advocating for changing all the gambling laws, doing amazing work. Well, it happened to be that week that we're running this event in Melbourne is Gambling Awareness Week in Victoria. So it's perfect. Now she's coming down to Victoria early to do some. So keeping your eye on a lot of if you just go and Google awareness weeks, or
my launch is on Are You OK Day.
There you go.
Wow.
So if you can align your launch, and I think you're going to get more value than trying to sell it at Christmas, when every man and their dog in the product retail space is trying to sell their product at Christmas. But if you can focus on an awareness week, or a specific themed week, or whatever, then I think you'll probably get more traction with it anyway. And it you've got more media opportunities, because no one at Christmas time, no media platform is going to promote it for Christmas, but they'll promote it for an awareness week. You know, that's what anyone that's ever heard Monica Rosenfeld speak or has spoken to Monica, who's in the media, she talks a lot about utilising these awareness weeks as a pitch for journalists. So, so that's always something to think about. So with MS, there's got to be an MS awareness week.
There's MS Awareness Month. So May is MS month in Australia, but the 30th of May is International MS Day. And so one of the authors that's in this book, her and I are actually co-authoring a book at the moment, and we're aiming at launching that on World MS Day.
Yeah, awesome. And that's where you can really get some media attention to it as well. So awesome. Thanks, Glenda. Really good insights. Any other stuff we want to share?
Oh, can I just say the merchandise I've done with the book?
Sure.
So we made t-shirts for all the authors to wear. As well, which didn't take much work. It was just a matter of, if you use Canva, you do it on Canva and you just press send, and within 48 hours, the t-shirt's sitting on your doorstep. So you can do t-shirts that have "I am an author" and have your front cover of your book on there, and people will stop and ask you about your t-shirt. So you can become a human billboard. Ask me about being an author.
That's awesome. Good one. Good one. Good one. What else we got? Last few minutes. Anyone want to jump in, share, ask?
What about you, Andrew? You're being very quiet. What are you up to with
I've been very quiet.
Yeah, well, you have with your writing. You never share too much on what you're writing.
Oh, because I'm more interested in hearing from you. Well, so I'm writing 2 books at the moment, actually, and with an idea of a third, because they just keep coming. So I'm writing one for a foundation. I think I've mentioned it to some of you, the Magical Getaway Foundation. They've commissioned me to write a book for them, and so I'm getting inspired by a lot of amazing people who've been through significant trauma, and then they get recommended to be given a free holiday by the Magical Getaway Foundation, so they get their first holiday. Often it seems to be a lot of women and children that have been traumatized and impacted by domestic violence. It seems to be a large part of, unfortunately, the traumas inflicted by men who have a lot of trouble dealing with stuff, which is tragic. So that's and just ironically, the other book I'm writing is for men, or it's actually about men, because being a man, I understand the struggles that men go through, and I've been through them and certainly haven't overcome them, but I'm learning more and more. So yeah, I want to write a book about men, for men and women, just to help men understand themselves and to help women maybe have some more patience and more understanding about why men do such stupid things sometimes. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, and wanting to see you guys be successful. Probably my greatest joy is seeing you guys, seeing Chris emotional and believing in himself, and see Sue on the verge of a publishing deal, see Justine doing amazing things, and to see all of you, what Terry's getting through his book, and Stephen's doing his book, and Glenda's about to publish her book, and Jean, you're here, and I'm not sure where you're at, but just always good that you're here. And Kat is, my gosh, Kat's got persistence. My gosh, she's a patient girl, and I know that patience is going to pay off for sure, Kat. I know you. I'm not going to throw you under the bus and make you speak tonight. I can tell you don't want to, so that's okay. But just want to acknowledge you, because you've got resilience for sure. So good on you, Chris. Did you have your hand up? You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Justine, I really value having some kind of talk to you, like email or whatever. Are you on LinkedIn?
I am.
She's on everything, mate.
Are we on link? What's your thing? Your, what do they call it? Handle or whatever it is on LinkedIn? I
Just
think.
I'll find it and drop it in the chat. How about that?
Well, that won't mean anything to me because once this goes off, I'll lose
Yeah,
it.
but just click on it. Just click on it now, Chris. I've got it, Justine.
Have you?
Yeah. So click on it as soon as it goes in the chat, Chris. Just click on it, and it'll open up in a browser. Right now, click on that link.
Feel free, everyone else, if you want to click on it as well and connect.
And that should just open up in a new browser. Did that work, Chris?
Yes, mate.
There you go. You've got it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Good. Well, I think that's a nice note to wrap it up. And another month is down. So it is September. So every one of you that's in Victoria, hopefully, we'll have there'll be another forum before the event on the 21st of October. But if you can make it to the event, it's going to be an awesome event. The disruption effect, we're calling it, and it's about, it's all about disrupting, stepping out and being your unique self, and not listening to, just doing things different to the norm is what we're all about. And I guess that's what we're here talking about every month anyway, is you just following your heart and doing what's, irrespective of what anyone else says or what anyone else thinks about you, and just being that incredibly amazing, authentic person that you have been created to be. So if you can make that, that'll be wonderful.
Yep, Justin and I are coming, Andrew. Looking
Yay!
forward to it. Yeah,
Well,
looking forward to it.
Good to see you off a screen, Sue.
3-dimensional.
3-dimensional. It'll
Yeah.
be awesome. So anyone that feels like flying to Australia for it, it's only a short hop from South Africa, Jean. Would love to see you.
I'm all booked.
Great.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. All right, guys. So 4 weeks from today, we'll be back here. Now, I'm not sure about timing, so you'll have to excuse me for those not in Australia. Obviously, daylight savings, I believe, starts in Australia on the 1st of October. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure when it ends in UK or in South Africa or in Europe. I don't know. So the time you're at your end may be different. Okay, I apologize for that, but we might take a couple of months just to settle that and get into a rhythm. But we're in this transitional time, so it'll come through, the Zoom invite will come through, and you'll get, oh my gosh, that time? Well, that's only because, don't blame me. Blame whoever came up with stupid daylight savings. I'm happy to cancel daylight savings because I'm loving light in the morning at the moment. And now, as soon as daylight saving hits, we're going to lose our light in the morning again, because I'm an early riser. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. Congrats on everything that you're doing, and everything you're achieving, and look forward to speak to you all soon.
Bye for now.